have your beginners, right? Those are the guys that are coming into the company. You have your butterflies. You have your golden employees. And then over here you have your barnacles. So somebody asked me before the meeting, like, I got this guy, he's great operationally, but he is terrible to deal with. Or vice versa, you have the guys that are great to deal with and you rarely have to touch them, right? You have all these different categories, and right now you're thinking of like even your key people. You're like, well, who is everybody falls into one of these buckets. So you have the person that comes in and they're brand new, they're low in profit, they're low in loyalty. Then all of a sudden they jump up here and man, they're great. They're killing it for you. They're high in profit, they're high in production, but they're still low in loyalty because they're not bought into your company. But unfortunately, what happens sometimes is they start to dip down here. And then all of a sudden, they're high in loyalty, but they're low in production. And we've had those guys, right? It's like, well, what happened to Bill? Bill was great last year, and now they're wanting to fire him. And then you have the ones that ideally would do this and just stay, and they're high in loyalty and they're high in profit, right? If we had a company full of these guys, Grant and I could go to the Bahamas half the year, right? But unfortunately, we have a lot of people that just do this. They move straight from beginners and they're just barnacles. And what happens to a ship if it has too many barnacles? Slow to turn, slow to speed, and in high seas, it'll turn over. So here's my question. Who do you focus on in your organization? When you talk about employees, who do you talk about? You talk about the barnacles. You talk about the problems. Right? And we spend all our time over here, and we're coaching, and we're disciplining, and we're putting up with them, and we're struggling with them. And why do we do that? I can't live without that guy. He's great operationally. But he's a turd everywhere else. And your employees hate him. And your fellow leaders hate him. And you know it. But you deal with it. And guess who you spend all your time focused on? But then you stand up and say, we want to have a great culture. And they're like, BS. Because you're allowing Bill to be a barnacle. Because you can't live without Bill. So we try to identify these guys. And our goal is to push them up. But if they don't, we send them to Crossland. We love Crossland. I'm just teasing. But we send them on their way. And what my leadership team will tell you is we've let more people go for not fitting our culture in the past 2 years than we have operational failures. I really don't care how operationally strong you are if you don't fit our culture.
That's so good.
Here's the deal. I would rather crawl with somebody who fits our culture and that fits our team and people enjoy working with and creates a positive environment than I would run with someone who is causing nothing but heartburn and pain for everybody around them, and everybody hates and everybody tolerates, and it's destroying our culture, even though temporarily we may be making more money with them. And temporary is the right word. So in this scenario, let's just walk this through. We're spending all of our time down here focused on this barnacle because they demand your attention because they're a problem. And who are we neglecting? All these guys that are high profit, why do we neglect them? Because we don't have to focus on them. They just get up and do what they need to do every day. Think about it for a second. In the last few weeks, what are you doing with the guys who are butterflies and golden employees? You're just giving them stuff to do and knowing that they're going to get it done, right? But you're not spending time coaching them. You're not spending time praising them. You're not spending time focused on them in an organization, because these guys down here demand all of your attention. You can relate this same thing to customers. You have customers that are absolute barnacles, right? Every time you do a project with them, they suck the very life out of you. But the customers that are really solid, we don't focus on as much because we don't have to, right? It's the same true all the way throughout our business. So what we try to encourage our guys is to make sure, this goes back to the praise component of making sure that we're focused on our most important players, and that we're shedding ourselves of these people who are unwilling to change. And that creates a positive culture, and that our employees understand that we're not going to tolerate that level of behavior, and that we are putting our golden employees in a position to where they're not having to deal with this garbage constantly. Now, in saying that, I always caution our people of this, and I'm going to say this to you. Don't walk out of here and walk back to your office and fire all your barnacles. Right? That's not the intent. The intent is that we are pouring into them. We are trying to lift them up. We are trying to get them to a higher level. However, if they resist that, and you know in your heart that you've done everything you can do to get them to a higher level, at some point you shed them.
One of the